Welcome to another episode of The Executive and the Republic. Today, we're exploring one of the briefest and most tragic presidencies in American history, that of William Henry Harrison. While his time in office was short, Harrison's legacy stretches far beyond the 32 days he served as president. Join us as we dive into his fascinating life and the unique circumstances that shaped his presidency. William Henry Harrison was born in 1773 in Charles City County, Virginia, to a prominent family. His father, Benjamin Harrison, was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence and served as governor of Virginia. From a young age, it seemed that William Henry Harrison was destined for public service, but his career took a different path, one shaped by the frontier and military service. In 1791, Harrison joined the Army, and soon after, he found himself on the front lines of America's westward expansion. As a young officer, he fought in conflicts with Native American tribes and quickly gained a reputation for his leadership. But it was during the Battle of Tippecanoe in 1811 that Harrison became a national hero. Leading U.S. forces against the Confederation of Native American tribes led by Tecumseh, Harrison secured a victory that bolstered his military reputation and earned him the nickname Old Tippecanoe. Harrison's military fame paved the way for a political career, and by the 1830s, he had become a well-known figure. The Whig Party, which was seeking an alternative to Andrew Jackson's Democratic Party, saw Harrison as the perfect candidate for president. They nominated him in the election of 1840, running on the slogan, "Tippecanoe and Tyler too," a catchy phrase that referred to Harrison and his running mate, John Tyler. But what really set the 1840 campaign apart was its innovative use of modern political techniques. Harrison's campaign created a narrative of him as a man of the people, despite his aristocratic background. His supporters portrayed him as a simple frontiersman who lived in a log cabin and drank hard cider, even though this wasn't quite the reality. In fact, Harrison's opponents, believing they could undermine him, tried to make fun of his supposed simplicity. But the Whigs cleverly turned this attack into a strength. Harrison's campaign leaned into the imagery of log cabins and hard cider, painting him as a relatable figure, just like the average American. It was one of the first times a political campaign used populist symbolism to win over voters, and it worked. Harrison won the election in a landslide, but his victory would soon turn tragic. He was inaugurated on March 4, 1841, on a cold and rainy day. Determined to show his toughness, Harrison gave the longest inaugural address in American history, speaking for nearly 2 hours, without a coat or hat to protect him from the elements. Unfortunately, this decision would prove to be fatal. Shortly after his inauguration, Harrison caught a cold, which quickly worsened into pneumonia. Despite the efforts of his doctors, Harrison's health deteriorated rapidly, and on April 4, 1841, just 32 days after taking office, he became the first U.S. president to die while in office. Harrison's death shocked the nation and raised critical questions about presidential succession. At the time, the Constitution wasn't entirely clear about what should happen when a president died in office. Should the vice president assume the full powers of the presidency, or simply act as a temporary replacement? Harrison's vice president, John Tyler, insisted that he should become the full president, a precedent that has been followed ever since. While William Henry Harrison's presidency was the shortest in American history, his legacy endured in ways no one could have predicted. His untimely death led to changes in how presidential succession was handled, and his campaign style, focused on populist imagery, would influence American politics for generations to come. Harrison was a man of contrasts, a military hero who saw little time in political power, and a president remembered not for what he did in office, but for how his death shaped the future of the presidency. Though his time as president was brief, his influence on the institution of the presidency and political campaigning left a lasting impact. Thanks for watching this episode of The Executive and the Republic. If you enjoyed learning about William Henry Harrison and want to hear more captivating stories about America's early presidents, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified whenever we post new content. We've got plenty more stories from the history of the Republic coming your way. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.